संगत जी, आइए सत्संग की शुरुआत करते हैं और सत्संग के लिए इनवाइट करते हैं दत्ता आंटी। आंटी आप प्लीज आएं और गुरु जी का सत्संग शेयर करें।
Before I start to say anything, I first bow to do pranam at Guruji's divine lotus feet. I pray that my soul, my mind, my consciousness forever stays at his charan sharan, no matter where my physical body is. Eternally my soul should be at his beautiful divine feet. After this, I want to say thank you to the mandir management, each and every member of the mandir management and the sevadars who are there for doing everything so beautifully in such a dedicated way, with so much sincerity and devotion, and especially to this Zoom platform, which has enabled the entire Sangat family all over the world to come together and to learn so much from the absolutely beautiful satsangs that take place over there, which perhaps would not have been possible otherwise. This is a pure learning experience from which we should all benefit. It is just an amazing platform for all of us. I am specially grateful to all the Purani Sangat who have been so generous in sharing their experiences, their thoughts about Guruji with all of us. It has been a kind of a path, a direction, telling us on how we should connect with Guruji, how we should conduct ourselves, and how it is important to be in his hukum, to obey what he says. Now I will start with my satsang. As Guruji says कि short में सुनाए, I will try to be absolutely to the point, and I will only talk about those experiences which have happened with me personally. So I will start with the first time that I reached Empire Estate at Guruji's Darbar in 2006. It was actually, what had happened was, my brother, he had been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2003-2004. So he had been diagnosed at a very late stage, and he had been treated at Tata Memorial, but there also he had been told that things are not very good for him, like he was in a very bad shape. So they did whatever they had to do, but in 2006 he had a relapse again, and he had to go to England, and he was in Guy's Hospital, and they did a stem cell transplant, and he was told that if he survives with a stem cell transplant, he'll be fine. Otherwise, there's a good possibility of a relapse again. And if there is a relapse, there is no medical line of action anymore after the stem cell treatment. So, as luck would have it, he had a relapse in 2006, and there was no medical thing that which we could follow, nothing in India, nothing in England, nothing anywhere in the world which could be done. So I was very, very distraught. I did not know what to do, and that was the first time in 2006 when I arrived at Guruji's Darbar. What had happened was, how I reached there was, I had called up one Mr. Jatin Das, who's a very renowned artist in India, and I had heard that he had a brother who's a sadhu, and I had asked him, I called him and I told him that my brother is dying, your brother is a sadhu, so does he have any power, can he help him? So Mr. Das said that he cannot do anything, his brother is just a sadhu, but he said, I'll put you in touch with Mr. Raghu Rai, who goes to one Guruji. Now we all know, of course, Mr. Raghu Rai is he's an icon, he's a very renowned person in our country. I mean, in normal times there would have been no way I would have been able to get in touch with him. But see how Guruji's grace is, how he makes things work. He put me in touch with Mr. Raghu Rai, and he was extremely kind. He and his daughter Avni, they took me to Empire Estate for the first time. And on the way, while we were going to Empire Estate, Mr. Raghu Rai, he did 2-3 satsangs. Now, one of them was about Sukhi Aunty, who is in Ireland. He told me about his daughter. And he said some other satsangs also. And he said 3 things which I remember till date. He said, number 1, he said, Guruji is God in human form. Second, he said that do not look left, do not look right, you just focus on Guruji. Do not bother about who is coming, who is going or anything. You just focus on Guruji. And number 3, he said, यहाँ जादू हो सकता है. These 3 things which he told me, for me, I think they are, how should I say, they are the very principles on my journey with Guruji. He is God. He is God in human form. He is Mahashiv. He is Mahashiv in our midst. Secondly, I think you know what he said, that do not look left or right or anywhere, just focus on Guruji. I think this was Guruji's instructions to me, and only with Guruji's help have I been able to follow that. I mean, we are told that when you go to the mandir, please do not socialize, do not talk here, there, everywhere. You go for only Guruji, you focus with Guruji, you pray to him, and then you go home. Luckily, so far, to the extent possible, I've been able to manage that. You know, I do not know so very many people. I enjoy just being there with Guruji and to be alone with him and to just be with him. And of course, the third thing, that jadoo ho sakta hai. I really needed a jadoo because my brother had been told by the doctors that he just had 2-3 months to live. There is nothing more that could be done. So, when I reached Guruji's Darbar in Empire Estate, I being a Bengali, I don't understand Punjabi at all. My Hindi was terrible. Now it has become slightly better, but as you can see, I'm speaking in English. Please forgive me for that, because if I tried speaking in Hindi, I would have been struggling so much with the language that I would not have been able to manage my thoughts or my feelings in Hindi. So please bear with me. Sangat ji, please forgive me for that, that I'm speaking in English. It is not because of choice, it is because I am unable to do so well in Hindi. To do full justice to what I want to say, I will not be able to say in Hindi. Now, the first thing that happened, I want to share 2 things which happened, which was very incredible for me. When I first did pranam to Guruji at his lotus feet, I had a very strange sensation. Although I was bent over and my forehead was at his feet, but I had a feeling as if I'm floating in mid-air. I am floating and it is very beautiful and it is very blissful and I'm very happy. And till date, I do not know what that was. I have no explanation for it, but that feeling I cannot forget even till today. That floating, blissful, happy feeling, and I just wanted to be in that state. And you know, in my mind is telling me that my feet is at Guruji's, my forehead is at Guruji's lotus feet. I have to get up because there's a line behind me. But I am unable to, because it is so beautiful. This feeling, this sensation of happiness that I am having. So, somehow I tore myself, I don't know how long I was, chipcord almost at his lotus feet, but somehow I managed to tear myself and get up and go. The second thing that happened was when I got up, I was still on my knees, I had my folded hands and my eyes were closed, and in Bengali the prayer came to me, Thakur, tumi ekta upay khuje dao, which means, Thakur, my Lord, my God, please find a way out of this, please find me a way. Now, when I said this, it seemed to me I saw Loknath Baba rise up in front of me. Now, Loknath Baba is a saint who lived for about 150 years from 1730 onwards, and that was the only entity, that sage saint whom I believed in. I used to pray to Loknath Baba. And in fact, that day I felt, oh my God, what am I doing? I've come here to pray to Guruji, and yet, in my vision, I'm seeing Loknath Baba. This is a kind of cheating that I'm doing, perhaps, and I was a bit, upset. Later on today, I realized that Guruji has given darshan in the very form that you have adored or worshipped a higher entity, whether it is a god, whether it is a saint or whatever. So that was his way of telling me that he is the one. And Sangat ji, let me tell you, I used to be a complete non-believer. I did not believe in gods and goddesses. They seemed to me very, strange creatures of imagination. There was no proof of anything. No one had seen them, so it was just a waste of time. It seemed to me an emotional crutch people need. And it was just pointless, worshipping gods and goddesses. So I thought very little of this aspect in life. But the funny thing is, this person, a person like me who did not believe in God, goddess or whatever, somehow, very quickly, although I hear many in the Sangat say that we never realized he is God, I am saying this today, and I've always maintained that although I did not think much about God, or I did not know what God is, but that time when I was in Guruji's presence, I knew he is God. Whatever that God concept was in my mind, I'm not sure, but I knew that this is God. This is God. In fact, I remember one day, I was standing at this little lawn which is opposite Empire Estate. We were standing there, and there was some very loud party music coming on from one of the houses behind us. And I was thinking how unfortunate, they are having a party there, yet they do not know that God is here. So in my mind, I was very clear that Guruji is God. Whatever God is, he is God. And I think that this was not because I have any special sense of understanding things or whatever. I simply know this was Guruji's blessing. Without his blessing, without his wish, you cannot realize who is. You cannot realize he is God. You cannot adore him. You cannot worship him. You cannot, you just cannot have this kind of feeling for him unless he wants you. Like he has said that he calls only his chosen one. It is his wish whether you go to him. It is his wish how long you stay with him. It is his wish how you feel for him. Without his blessing, it is just not possible. So this realization that I have, it is Guruji's blessing, nothing else. It is not my capability or my thinking or anything of the sort. Now, to get back to what happened to my brother, things had become so bad that I distinctly remember that when this Dussehra festival had come on, my son had holiday for little time. So I rang up my brother because I knew 2-3 months and he'll be gone. So I called him up and I said ki I'll come over to Calcutta for this little while. So he told me, and I remember his words distinctly. He told me in English that don't come now. come in December when things will be much worse, and you will have to be very strong and you will have to hold the family together. I did not argue with him. You do not argue with a man who knows who's dying and who's trying to put his family in order, because my father was very old. My mother had been paralyzed with a massive cerebral stroke soon after my brother had been diagnosed with cancer initially in 2003, 2004. Soon after that, she had that cerebral stroke which had left her paralyzed and which had nearly killed her. So things were extremely difficult for him. So I did not argue, I did not go. And here I was at Guruji's Darbar. Mr. Raghurai, I'm kind of eternally grateful to him for showing me this path, the path which, this is the only path which matters to me in life, to me at this point in time. I mean, this is all that I pray for. Now, when I was there, Sangat ji, I prayed for two things from Guruji. I did not speak to him, but I prayed for two things in my mind because I did not know his powers at that time. My two prayers were that my brother is destined to go young. So at least let him have no pain of cancer. Let him go by heart attack, by whatever, but let him go quickly. Let him not suffer from cancer. The second prayer that I have, because I was so attached to my parents, I prayed to Guruji, Guruji, before my brother goes away in these 2-3 months, please, please, please take my parents also. Let them not see their son go before they go. It would be too much. And they will not be able to handle it, I will not be able to handle it, and my brother also will go with a lot of worries. I knew that my sister-in-law will survive, I knew that I will survive, but I knew that it would be the end of the road, not just for my brother, but also for my father and mother. And I did not wish this for them. Now, what happened was, as you know, that Guruji used to bless a lota for people who were very gravely ill or terminally ill. Guruji used to bless this lota for them. So Mr. Rai and his daughter Avni and so many other kind Sangat members over there, they tried to tell me that please you get this lota blessed and take it for your brother who's in Kolkata. But Sangatji, like I said that I was a non-believer, I did not believe in gods and goddesses. I am like that and my brother is more like that. He is like, he just doesn't believe in anything. So the Sangat, they told me that what does he have to lose? He's going to die in any case. You know, so why won't he do this? But as far as I know my brother, I know that he is the kind of person who will rather die than give up his beliefs. So that lota was out of the question. If he agreed to the lota, I would have taken it straight away. I would have taken the next flight to Kolkata and I would have given it to him. But I knew it's not going to happen. It would be pointless. So I was very distraught. I thought this one chance at life which my brother had, which we had, even that is gone now. Because you know this lota will not be feasible for us. So Sangatji, I was very distraught. You know, my only thing whenever I used to go to Guruji, I would just sit there in one corner and I would be crying like the Niagara Falls. And I would be like, this is it. I mean, this is it. Everything is over now. I would just sit and cry there. Now, Mr. Rai, he understood the situation. He understood what I am facing. So he said, ki don't worry. You just do one thing, you come every week, you come here and you try and connect with Guruji. Now whatever that means, connect also I did not understand, but faithfully I used to go every week to Guruji. I would sit in one corner. I hoped that people would not notice and I would just sit there and I would cry. And you know what, I forgot to mention, the first time that I went to Empire Estate to Guruji's Darbar, I don't understand Punjabi at all. Now I understand a little bit. My Hindi was atrocious. It still is just about passable. The one line of one shabad which was playing that day was Jo mango soi pavo. That much I understand. That it is, this shabad is telling me that whatever you want you will get, and that brought on more tears. I cried even more, but that one line, that first day I understood, and every week I used to go to Guruji. It was the entire, from so many satsangs you must have heard about people having this incredible pull, this incredible magnetic urge to be there. It was ditto with me. It was a physical sensation that you're being pulled, you're absolutely being pulled to that mandir, I would wait the entire week that when I would get to go to Empire Estate, and that restlessness that you get out of the taxi, and I used to take a cab at night because people at home were not willing to come with me. So I used to take a cab and I used to get off at Empire Estate, and I would be half running, half walking. It was like you're being pulled. And inside the Darbar also, it was a sensation. There was an energy. It was something which I cannot explain. In fact, I feel that someone who has not experienced that energy, it is very difficult to explain in words exactly what that feeling was, that aura, that energy that was there in that room. It was perhaps, I tried to understand, maybe it was something which was happening in another dimension to which our soul connected, which our soul could vibrate with, but which our mind or our body or the faculties of our body and mind, for which we have no explanation or no words to describe this. It is something between your soul and God, that vibration, that physical pull. It was in another dimension. So we just don't have the words to explain what it was, but it was very much there. So every once a week I used to absolutely run and be there at Guruji's. And I remember that one or two Saturdays, I used to go on Saturdays. I was unable to go for some reason or the other, and I felt very bad. And you won't believe, Sangat ji, when on one Saturday like that, I had not been able to go to Guruji's Darbar, and I was at home and I was doing a lot of this Baygon spray sort of thing in my room because there was this fear of dengue, and everyone was scared of that. And the room is full of this Baygon spray, and suddenly I get this fragrance of roses. I mean, like someone has kept baskets and tons of fresh roses in front of me. I was very puzzled because I was relatively new at that time, and I had forgotten what, although I vaguely remembered Mr. Rai telling me something about the fragrance of roses, but at that point in time I had forgotten. And I was thinking, what is this beautiful smell? Usually the Baygon used to make me feel very vomity and pukey, and I would spray and I would run out of the room. But that day, with those roses smell, that fragrance, I suddenly, after a while, I went a little bit to the left, there was no fragrance. I went a little bit to the right, there was no fragrance. Just at that point, there was a lot of fragrance. And then suddenly I remembered what Mr. Rai had told me about Guruji's blessings in the form of this rose fragrance. And then I just sat down on the bed, and that fragrance was with me for I don't know how long, maybe a minute, or more, I don't know. And there was so much of peace, there was so much of calm, it was so beautiful. And today I realized that I could not go to him, so he came to me. Now that is a very big thing. He came to me because I could not go. Sangat ji, today I believe, because Guruji has said that there's so many gods and goddesses. So I respect all those gods and goddesses. But to me, my adoration, my love, my everything is for Guruji. Because in my days of trouble, no God came to hold my hand, no goddess came to me. Only my Mahashiv, my Guruji, he came to me. So my love, my bhakti, my devotion, my adoration is only for my Guruji, this Mahashiv, and for no one else. This is just too emotional for me. So I'll just skip a little. Today, that was 2006. My brother had to go away. He had written a will for my father that after he goes away, how the family will run. But see what God does for you. My brother today, 2022, he's still alive. Nothing has happened to him. He is under regular checkups, but he's still leading a normal life. He's fit and fine. He's absolutely okay. And what I had prayed for my parents to Guruji, that Guruji, before my brother goes, please take my parents. Let them not see their son go before him, before them. How kind God is, how kind this Mahashiv we have with us, who protects us, who blesses us. See how kind he is. He gave full life to my parents. My father went in 2011 and my mother went in 2013. Whereas I had prayed for them to go in 2006. Can you imagine? And now let me tell you about my father. My father had become a staunch devotee of Guruji after he got his son back from the jaws of death. So often, I would sit with him whenever I used to go to Calcutta, and I would talk about Guruji, do little satsangs of his. And my Baba was very, very keen and eager to listen to all about Guruji. And, the last time that, before the last time, let me say, actually he went away with cancer. He also had cancer, unfortunately. He was detected very late. The doctors could not do much at that time. And I was in Delhi when I got the call from my people in Kolkata that my father is collapsing. And Guruji was so, he's so amazing, he's so kind. Guruji, in those 2-3 days before I took the flight to Kolkata, I deferred a little bit for going because, I just had to go to one satsang which, I had made up my mind that I will go, and I had to go to Bade Mandir to take Agya before leaving for Kolkata. During that process, Guruji arranged for prasad, Sachkhand prasad for my father through a very old Sangat who's extremely kind-hearted. And I'm not allowed to take names, I think, so I'm not mentioning, but I'm forever grateful to this Sangat uncle and auntie who, when they heard about my father's condition and that I'll be taking the flight, soon after, they gave me a little bit of that Mahaprasad, that Sachkhand Prasad, which they gave it to me. And the day my father passed away, that day, just before he closed his eyes forever, I could put little bit of that prasad in his mouth. Now, to go with Mahaprasad in your mouth, that Sachkhand Prasad in your mouth, I mean, for me, it is it's something, it's just too big, it's too much. So today I just don't worry about my father. He had been suffering. In fact, I had been praying to Guruji, you take my father now. You take my father today. You take my father right away. But don't give him pain. Please don't give him pain. Just take him. And the doctor also, after he passed away, the doctor, he said, in so many years of being a doctor, I've never seen a cancer patient go so peacefully, without any pain like this. So it's just Guruji who did all this, And another little thing which I remember and I'd like to share is, before my father fell ill and before I got that telephone call from Kolkata that please come right away, your father is collapsing, a few days before I had got a dream from Guruji. I don't normally dream about Guruji. Sangat, please let me tell you that I dream very, very rarely about Guruji, maybe once a year or once in 2 years or something like that. But I've noticed that when something significant is going to happen, he comes to me in my dream. And in my dream, I saw that my father, he's putting on his shoes, he's tied his laces, he's polished his shoes. He used to keep himself very well because he had this army background. And he gets up and he tells me, I'm going to Olga's place. Now, I think many of you know that Olga Aunty used to have satsangs every Friday, but it used to be very crowded. So in my dream, I'm telling my father that, Baba, don't go to Olga Auntie's place. It will be very crowded. You go straight to the mandir. That is all I saw in my dream. And soon after, I got this call, and after this call, within a month, my father went away with Sachkhand Prasad in his mouth. So I know this was all under Guruji's supervision. It was as per his will, it was as per his wish. There is nothing for me to worry about because I know Baba is with Guruji. Now for my mother. My mother, she went away 2 years after my father passed away. She went away in 2013. My mother had been paralyzed for so many years. She had been, because of that cerebral stroke, and she had also become a patient of dementia, and plus she had a cataract, severe cataract and dementia. I mean, the dementia was to the point that it used to take her a lot of time for her to realize that I'm there in front of her, or my her grandson, that is my child, is in front of her. She used to get confused about relationships, and she could not see properly. We could not get the cataract operation done because of her condition, so the doctors were against it. So neither could she see nor could she understand. So it was a very tough situation. She used to get very confused in her mind about relationships, about people, about everything. Yet the nurse and the maid who used to look after my mother, they used to tell me, Didi, do you know that Ma keeps saying that she sees Guruji? Now, this was very strange because my mother, things did not register in her head. I mean, it was very difficult for even simple things for her to understand. And she has not seen Guruji. She has not seen a photo of Guruji, though I had told her about Guruji, but she didn't remember. She did not remember her husband, her son, her daughter, her grandchild. Everything was confused in her mind, So just to test her, when I went to Kolkata, I asked her, Ki Ma, what do you see? You say that Guruji is with you. What does he look like? So she thought for a while, and then she said, "Oh, he's very fair. He's very, very fair." So I kept quiet. Then I said, "Oh, and what does he have on his head?" Jokingly I asked her, "Does he wear a crown on his head like a king?" Again she kept quiet and thought very hard. And she says, "No, he's absolutely bald. He's totally bald. He does not have any hair on his head." So now I knew that what she's saying is absolutely correct. She's seeing something which we cannot understand. She is with Guruji. So then I asked her, "So what does Guruji say to you?" And she again thought, and she said, "Oh, he does not say anything. He just sits there and he just smiles at me." From then on, I was absolutely assured that I have nothing to worry about. She is under Guruji's care. What he is doing is the best for her. In my mind, in any case, I already knew that although she is bedridden for 8-9 years, this is the 10% of her karma which she has to go through. The 90% already Guruji had negated for us. I mean, if my brother had gone away, if she had seen her son go away in front of her, I mean, what more disaster can there be for a mother, for a parent to see their child go away? That is hell on earth. So this was her 10% of karma, and today I am absolutely certain that both my father and my mother are with Guruji and they are under his protection, and I have absolutely no grief about it, and I am absolutely, at peace. I mean, what more can I want? That my parents are with God, with Mahashiv. There is nothing more that I can want. Now, to do my own satsang, I remember that as I have told you that I had gone to Guruji only for my brother, for my brother's cancer as it was. So it never entered my head that I have to pray for anything for myself. But at that time I had severe this spondylitis in my back. It was so bad that once or twice the doctors had told me that I'll have to get into a stretcher and go to the hospital because I was given injections of painkillers and all that. I could not stand at all. It was absolutely horrible. It was horrible. So one day with that pains thing, I had gone to Empire Estate, and it was very difficult to sit on the floor like that, and it was very crowded also. And I was in my mind, I was telling myself that I have to do some exercise, I have to do something because this pain is so horrible. So anyhow, I sat and then when I came back at night and I lie down on my bed to sleep, I suddenly realized that there is no pain, that there is absolutely no pain. So I was stunned. I jumped out of bed, I bent left, there is no pain. I bent to my right, there is no pain. There is no pain at all, So I was stunned, absolutely. And later on when I told my father that, Baba, this happened after I went to Empire Estate, and there, this pain thing happened, and when I came home, that pain had vanished. So my father had told me, "Oh, so now don't worry, you'll never have that kind of pain again, because Guruji has done what he has to do, so now you don't worry." And it is a fact. Till now, that severe problem which I had, I may be having 1 or 2% of that. Sometimes there's a little pain, but it's nothing compared to what it used to be. Then I also realized that I used to have very severe stomach problems. So every month I would be on medication, I would be on antibiotics or something. It was like horrible. It was like throughout the year I was on medication for stomach problems. So over the years I've realized even that has gone. Even that is there, maybe at a 1%, 2% level, but nothing compared to what it was every month. Over the years, with Langar Prasad, Guruji's blessings in so many ways, that has also disappeared. And I must tell you about what happened in 2020. I was having this pain in my knees, and the doctor said it is arthritis. and then it started happening to my hands. My fingers were very difficult to open in the morning, and they were hurting a lot. So I used to do some exercise and all that, and the doctors and the therapists, they had said that, well, the finger thing, it progresses very fast and it becomes very painful. It will be difficult to do daily activities also gradually. So you'll have to be mentally prepared for that. Do whatever you can, whatever little exercises, but obviously there's no cure for this. So I heard all that, what to do. So one day, this doctor, who is also a friend of mine, she's very close to me. One day I had heard it from other doctor, but she was telling me, this pain will come to the point, you will have difficulty in doing normal things. You will also not be able to paint. And Sangat ji, I just love to paint, to do my little craft, to do my little painting. I'm no artist, I'm no great talented artist or anything, but it is something which gives me a lot of peace and it brings me a lot of happiness. That's something I really, really love to do. So that really hurt me, that worried me a lot, and it was in my mind that I won't be able to paint. So then what will I do if I can't paint? I mean, that would be really horrible for me, that urge to paint, but I can't lift up my brush. So the next morning, when I was sitting in front of Guruji in my little mandir at home, I had not planned on telling him or anything of, because it had never entered my head that I can ask for something like that for myself. But it just came out, I showed him my hands and I cried out to him, Guruji, look at my hands. And there were almost tears in my eyes because I was feeling that I will not be able to paint anymore. So that was it. I put down my hands and then whatever, I sat and I prayed. I was with Guruji in my little prayer thing, which I do for a few minutes. Now see what happens. Next morning when I get up, every morning I had to get up and I had to, do some exercises, stretch my fingers and all that, for the pain to go away. There is no pain. There is no pain in my fingers. There's no pain in my hands. Overnight, that pain had vanished. It was incredible. There was just no pain. And even my knees, I had not prayed for my knees because I was only worried about my painting thing. Even my knees were not hurting like that, It is just incredible. That was 2020, and by the way, that happened, during my birthday month. So it was like Guruji blessed me for my birthday. He has, cured me of this arthritis thing. And I can enjoy my little craft, my little painting even today without absolutely any problem whatsoever. So now I will talk about my son. My son also, he was a good student. He was doing well in school. He was amongst the toppers and all that. So I knew he had the potential to do well. And although I never pressurized or anything that you have to do this or you have to do that, I knew that science was something that he enjoyed. Though I had told him, no matter what you do history, you do chemistry, I don't care what you do, but you just have to promise me one thing, that whatever you do, you have to do it with full dedication and with full sincerity. I don't care what you choose. Choice is up to you. But in my heart, I knew that this boy basically likes science. So, he decided to do science in class 11 and 12. But class 11, his life was simply, friends and movies and malls and this thing. He was not applying himself because studies came easily to him. He was not used to working hard. So but if you have to sit for IIT and all that, he used to keep telling me, oh, forget it, I'll never be able to get into IIT. I said, fine, but at least you have to try for it, work for it. So we got him admitted to a coaching center also, but he just did not apply himself. Things became so bad that whatever section they put you in that coaching center, after one of his exams or results, he was demoted to another section because he did not do so well. His results were not so good. Now that shook him because he was not used to this in school. Because in school it was all the teachers praising him, everyone being happy with his work and all that. And we were also a bit shaken because we had not experienced anything like this. In fact, I was telling Guruji, what happened? This is one thing that I really thought things will go smoothly, but what is this? But thankfully he was put in another section that made him think and that made him apply himself. So in class 12 he pulled up his socks and he prepared for himself a little bit and he cracked the IIT exams. He got into IIT Kharagpur, and in fact the results of IIT Kharagpur came out the day of Guruji's birthday. I was at the mandir and my son calls me on the phone and he tells me that, "Ma, I've got into IIT Kharagpur." I know that my son, his application was not enough to get him into IIT. This was simply Guruji's blessing. It was his blessing that my son got through, because my son is not an Einstein and neither had he worked so hard. So, when you are competing with toppers from all schools from across the country, things don't just happen. You have to work very hard. He is no Einstein and he did not work so hard. The fact that he got into IIT is simply Guruji's blessings, nothing else. This happened on his birthday. Now what happened was, when he got into this IIT stream, whatever stream he got into, but he wanted actually another stream which he thought would help him with his dreams of doing whatever he wanted to do in life. But that stream he had not got into. So, I simply prayed to Guruji that, "Guruji, you do what is best for him. You know what he has to study, what is good for him, what stream, what place, what institute is good for him. It is simply up to you. You do what is best for him." And on Guru Purnima, again I am at the mandir and I get a call from my son that he has been upgraded to the stream of his choice. Now, we all know, nothing is by coincidence. Nothing is by coincidence. This was Guruji's blessings on his birthday, on Guru Purnima. His blessings this thing did not stop there. After 1 year, because when kids, they fill out the form of this stream and that stream, they actually have no idea of what that stream consists of, what the syllabus is, what they have to study. So they just do it in a random way. But after he joined Kharagpur, IIT Kharagpur, he realized that what is what, and there was something else that he wanted to do in his mind. He thought, okay, I actually want to do something else. Again, after 1 year, he could change his stream in IIT Kharagpur to the stream of his choice. That also, if you talk to parents and students at IIT, they'll tell you it's not very easy to change your stream once you get into a stream. It is quite a uphill task. It's pretty hard, and my son is not, like I said, he's not a hard-working kid. He's not like studying all the time or something like that. He's just not the type. So again, he got into a stream of his choice. This is only because Guruji knows best what is good for you, what is right for you. So Guruji put him in that stream of his choice, and he enjoyed himself and he did very well in that stream. Now after he passed away, see how Guruji protects, how he blesses all the way he does it for you. When he got his job, his first job at BCG, Boston Consulting Group, I think many will know that, BCG, please Sangat ji, please don't think I'm boasting or anything like that. because that's just not my intention. This is Guruji's blessing that he put my son in a company which is so renowned. But I am mentioning this because of another little satsang here. What had happened was they had been called for an interview at another consulting firm which is called LEK. But LEK is not so well rated, I think, as BCG. We know very little. We were, getting updated at that time, coming to know about all this at that time. So all the kids who were called for that interview at LEK, we were very happy. He was also going. But he didn't make it through the interview. We were surprised. We asked him what happened. He said, I don't know. They asked me funny questions, nothing to do with work. And because I had this much faith in my son that if he sits for an interview, he will get through it. He has that capacity, he'll get through. So I was very surprised when he didn't get through to LEK. And he said they didn't ask anything about the work. They asked all funny things. Now what happened, it turned out that apparently, they were taking people whosoever they were taking. But what happened was the boys and girls who got through to this company, they were not allowed to sit for any other interview for any other company, especially Boston Consulting Group. Now these kids who had got through also, they wanted to go to Boston Consulting, they wanted to take the chance because it's one of, the big consulting groups, so well renowned. But they were afraid because if they went and sat for the interview, they would lose their jobs at LEK also. Anyhow, so my son got the opportunity. Why? Because he didn't get through at LEK and he got through to BCG. And he got the job over there. And you know what happened? The day he had the interview at BCG, the interview was in Delhi. That day the day before, I was at the mandir, and one Sevadar auntie, one Meenu auntie, she suddenly turned around to me, gave me a chocolate, and she said, "Ye tere bete ko de dena." I was very surprised because no one knew that my beta is in Delhi. For what reason? He's supposed to be in college. And she had absolutely no idea. I had not told anyone that he's come for an interview, he's in Delhi. But she turned around, gave me the chocolate. And I looked at Guruji and I sort of, I knew, oh Guruji, I know what you're doing. So we went to his hotel that day. They were all staying at a hotel. And I gave the chocolate to my son. And I told him, when you go for the interview tomorrow, please you have this chocolate. And then you go sit for the interview. And then of course what to say, Guruji had already pre-decided and he got through, he got his job and he was very happy and he did very well. And then after a couple of years or so, as you know how these kids nowadays, they keep changing their job. He changed his job again to another venture capital firm. And that day also, when he got the offer from the second company, the second job where he is right now, that day in the morning when I got up, it seemed to me that I had been hearing the mantra jap very loudly. It was like in my dream or what, I don't know, but it was very loud. And I got up very happy thinking, oh wow, what a beautiful thing. I've got up hearing the mantra jap so clearly, and I was very, very in good mood. And in the evening, my son tells me that he has got through to this second job of his, where he is right now. Now, of course, Guruji, I pray to you, I simply pray to you, Guruji, keep not just my son, all of us very, very grounded. We should always realize that all that we have, all that we achieve, everything in our life happens because Guruji gives it to us. We do not have any capacity, we do not have anything by which to achieve. It is everything that we have in our life is because of Guruji's blessing. So keep my son humble, keep him grounded, let him always realize that everything in his life is a blessing from you. Everything. He should never feel proud of anything. Everything is from you and you alone. Now, I think I've spoken enough, but before I go, there's one thought I want to share is that, very recently I realized that when I went to Guruji, that was actually my birth date. It was my birthday when I had gone to Guruji at Empire Estate for the first time. Today, I used to initially think, so he gave me my birthday gift, he gave life to my brother, he kept our family together, he gave life to my father, to my mother, he kept all of us together, that was his birthday gift. Today I have gone one level beyond. I realized that he had called me on my birthday because perhaps in my horoscope or destiny or whatever, a different story was written. I would have been finished, my family would have been finished if something had happened to my brother, if he had gone away. Because, like many of us, I had also a lot of challenges here in my life in Delhi. We all had big financial challenges, we had relationship issues, we had we had physical health problems, so it was a big hodgepodge. So I was virtually alone at that time, and for me to manage Delhi and Kolkata problems and with my limited finances, it would have been an impossible task. It would have been a tsunami under which I would have perished. So, I today feel he called me, God called me, Mahashiv called me. He had given me a biological birth at a certain time, but he gave me a spiritual birth, and he sort of, I think, he reset my horoscope timing or date or destiny, whatever, because he called me on my birthday at that specific time so that he could reset my destiny. Sometimes, when I look at my life, I'm reminded of this story of Arjuna's chariot, where Sri Krishna tells Arjuna that your chariot was finished long before, but because I was driving that chariot, because I was in that chariot, so this chariot is intact. That is why he had told Arjuna to get off the chariot before Sri Krishna himself alighted, because the minute he alighted from the chariot went up in flames. The chariot had been protected by the gods. To my mind, I feel that my destiny, had it gone the way it was supposed to have gone, this chariot of my life was actually finished long back. It was not in my ability to do anything. I mean, I would have perished. We all would have perished. My father, mother, brother, me, and as a consequence, even my son would not have had the life he has today. So, because Guruji, my Mahashiv, is the charioteer of my life, so this chariot of my life is intact today and it is running. There is no other way. Destiny had something else in store for me. So this is all that I have. So many blessings in my life from Guruji. Until today, the biggest miracle for me, for all of us, is that we've connected with Mahashiv. If we tell someone outside the Sangat that we have experienced God, we have seen God, we've touched God, we are having direct connection with God, people will think we are crazy. They'll think that, what? He's saying that they have seen God, must be mad. But only we in the Sangat, we know what we have experienced. Guruji, Mahashiv, he has allowed us to see, to experience him, to see what is God, to be in his protection, to be in his blessings. Well, this is where I will end. But again, last one thing, I would like to take this opportunity. to tell the Sangat that, this huge big blessing that we have to be in the presence of Mahashiv, to be connected with God himself, Guruji who is Mahashiv. Please, the smallest, he does so much for us. What he does is, beyond comprehension. The only little thing that we can do for him is to be in his hukum, to please follow what he has told us to follow. The things which the mandir management tells us, the things which the Purani Sangat tells us, that to keep things simple during satsang. Do not go into shoshabaji. In fact, a friend of mine who had got connected with Guruji, she is in Dubai. She got connected and somehow she started also going to Guruji's satsangs at Dubai. But apparently over there things were so in a grand scale, it was so much of grandeur involved, so much of pomp and show, that she got put off. She said, where is the spirituality? There's so much decoration and everything over there. People are competing with each other, and it simply put her off. I tried to convince her that forget about everything, you just go to Guruji. But somehow it didn't happen. With all that was happening around her, she kind of withdrew. Please, Sangatji, please understand, this is not the message we want to give to people. And this was not how it was in Guruji's time. Guruji's time, everything was so simple. There's a huge power in simplicity. When you keep things simple, it is much more powerful. Let the focus just remain on Guruji. I remember having heard one satsang where Guruji apparently had remarked that if you come here and you just look at my chola and you notice my chola but you don't notice me, then what is the point of coming here? Ditto for being in a satsang. If you're so taken up with the decor and this and that and whatnot, what is the point? Just focus with Guruji. Secondly, like in Guruji's time, there were only recorded chosen shabads by him. There were no live singers and ragis. Because again, apparently he said that, then your attention goes to the ragi. But you should be focusing on the shabad. So please focus on the shabad and those shabads which are empowered by his blessings. Play those are our prasad. Just like tea prasad, langar prasad, chai prasad, that shabad prasad, that is empowered by his blessings. That is where your blessings lie. There are thousands of beautiful shabads and bhajans. You are at a liberty to listen to them, to connect with them at your own time, at your own space or whatever. But when you are with Guruji or having a satsang, please remain within that hukum. Hukum is all important. This is what the mandir management is telling us. This is what the Purani Sangat is telling us. So if you want his blessings, please obey. It is of utmost importance. So I would like to end now. Sangatji, this is, if by chance I have said something which is not right, then please forgive me. My intention was not that. Please forgive me. And again, I would like to thank the entire management for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much. And especially to Kunal uncle, who has been extremely supportive and who has helped me so much, to help me to have the confidence to do this satsang, to share it all with you. Thank you once again, Sangatji and Guruji. My pranam to you, my eternal pranam to you. Let me remain, my soul, my consciousness, remain at your lotus feet for eternity. Never leave me. Be mine forever. Make me yours forever. That is all. Thank you so much.